Hey, everybody. This is Adam Perry here with TrueDFS, and I'm going to go over today's four-game brief NHL slate. It's brief because it's only four games, but there's always something to learn. So we'll try and experiment with that. I just want to say, check us out at TrueDFS.com and consider joining now because not only do we have SaberSim, which I'm going to use here, but we've just added PayDirt DFS's projections and range of outcomes models and betting models. And so there's just so much more stuff to use to make yourself a great DFS player and even a great bettor. So what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to start using those till tomorrow. We have a huge slate tomorrow. I just want to briefly go over this one, but tomorrow's an 11 gamer and we want to start introducing some of the other stuff we could do with PayDirt. And one of the really, really kind of cool, but also vexing things about it is that the PayDirt DFS models are way different than the SaberSim ones. And so, that is tough, but good, right? Because we have a lot to learn. And we could say, SaberSim prefers, I think we've learned through our experimentation, it prefers the 5-man stacks, even on the smaller slates. PayDirt seems to veer more towards the 4-mans, and there's a rationale why. So we're going to start taking a look at both models. We're also going to integrate some prop betting in this. PayDirt has a great NHL prop betting model that is finding edges in some of the prop markets that may be not so liquid like the regular NHL betting markets, and that we could find and we could use to get some edges. And so I'm going to kind of include a brief betting portion of it, and we'll start with that probably tomorrow. So let's just go through with a normal process on SaberSim, though. I'm not going to do a ton of experimentation today, but we do have this sort of ongoing question that we were talking about in Discord. And remember, you get the premium Discord with the subscription as well. So you don't just get the SaberSim and now the PayDirt models, but you get the premium Discord. And that includes all the sports and the experts going over DFS in voice chat on Discord, and there's all this cool stuff. So anyway, we have this ongoing question of like, why does SaberSim? I mean, when you run the Sims, you get sometimes just way overloaded on low probability plays. I mean, are we going to get to the under 2.5 total Chicago against Colorado today? We're going to get to a bunch of that. Are we going to get overloaded on Detroit and Buffalo when there's all these, you got Ottawa at 3.5 would normally be pretty good, but Colorado has about a 4.5 implied total. SaberSim's a little higher on them, but they're about a 4.5 implied total, and Edmonton's not far behind. So there's just a ton of stuff. And then like even Toronto, they only have a 3-3, but it's Austin Matthews, it's William Nylander. There's so much good stuff on just a 4-game slate. So let's see what we get to. We had this question about I think it was about the quarter jukebox, which is a 20 max contest. So let's take a look and see what we might get to if we run just out of the box kind of lineups. We're going to run it against the low stakes 20 max build, and then let's put on the quarter jukebox here. So the fee, 2.25 jukebox. So we're going to simulate these lineups we build against that field. One of the things I like to do is I like to build using the ownership that it expects I'm playing against. So I'm going to build using the low stakes 20 max ownership instead of just keeping it on the flagship. They won't be too much different. It won't affect things too much, but every little bit counts, and every edge we can get matters, I think. I mean, it's DFS in 2025. People are sharp as hell, so we have to be sharper. Let's take a look as the lineups come up. This is always a little slower in the new SaberSim. I don't know if it's my machine or if it's just since they've put it on beta, but it's always just, it runs faster until you get to actually populating the lineups at the end. And then it always takes a minute. And I've noticed it's a lot slower earlier in the day. I don't know. Maybe they're like prepping for lock. I don't know. Let's see what happens if I reset. There we go. It's not building. Should we try it again? It is getting frustrating. Thanks for bearing with me. See, I tend to think that the higher priced guys, and you're going to have McDavid on the slate, you're going to have McKinnon. I imagine that the pivot is Matthews, but I don't think like Matthews is going to go unowned in any way. Maybe it's McDavid that gets squeezed between, and Matthews is only like 8,400, and McDavid and McKinnon are about the same price. And Edmonton, they sort of broke out last game, but they've been having it tough. But it's such a great spot against Buffalo. But they're going to be expensive. Colorado is going to be expensive, but you could fit some of them. I don't think you could play the 5-man like we usually like, but you're going to be able to play those 3-men or 4-men if that's what you prefer. Let's see who we get. If we just sorted by Saber score, then you get all the Colorado and Saber score, and that's going to, favor more projection with some of an ownership fade. But let's see if we just ran that simulation. Let's see who we get to. Projection update. Okay. Detroit, Buffalo. It's pretty diverse, though. So there's two things you could do if you don't want so much of it, right? And let's see. Stack exposures, 5-mans, 3-mans, 4-mans, 5-mans, 6-mans. Let's see what the stack exposure like. We get the Detroit onslaught, a Buffalo onslaught, Detroit onslaught, little Ottawa, little Toronto, 4-mans of Buffalo and Detroit. I mean, this just wants you to go with the low-owned, cheap stuff. And, if that's too much of you, there's two ways to handle this. We talked about it. And I'm not going to do the experiment today, but, what you can do is just say, look, that's just too much Detroit. Let's get it down to 10% instead of 65. And let's get Buffalo down. Let's make it 15. We want some leverage. And it may be that the leverage is what you need in this slate, but let's see. Now it looks a lot healthier and more diverse. Ottawa, Utah, Toronto, Detroit, Buffalo. The only thing it doesn't want you to do is play too much of the Colorado and Edmonton. Do we have any 4s of that? We got 1 for Colorado. So, SaberSim is saying basically this is a large field contest. People are going to be playing the high projected teams. And leverage. That's what you need. Now, there's another way to do this, which is just tell the builder before building how to build these stacks. So let's go like this. Let's see what happens if it could even do this. We had in our pool way more Detroit and Buffalo. I mean, what if we said just keep them out of the pool, period? Not keep them out of the pool, but make it small. Let's make a really small percent. Let's take it down at least 10% on both. And then just give it more options to build from the other teams. Let's take out Chicago here. We don't want it like diverting our Detroit and Buffalo to Chicago stuff. And then it's just going to have way more Toronto, way more Ottawa, way more Utah, way more Edmonton, way more Colorado represented in the pool. Not that they aren't a lot already, but it's going to give it way more to choose from to find high ROI lineups. We kind of did that before when we figured out that SaberSim likes the 5-man stacks and the 6-man stacks, especially in those single entries that I play. And we said, okay, just build those. And can we increase our ROI that way? Do we get more of those outlier ROIs? And our answer was yes in SaberSim. So, that may be one other way to handle it, is just change the way your pool looks and give it different options to choose from. So maybe there's some Colorado outliers, some Edmonton, some Utahs. So I would go ahead and do that. That's how I would prefer to do it, to get to the stacks I like, instead of just having 5,000 that are overrepresented by these low probability teams. I would rather it be higher represented with the higher teams, and SaberSim to find some of the needles in the haystack from those if I wanted to get more diverse. So that's going to be all for me today. I don't have an answer for who I like, and this is early. People ask that all the time. I really don't care. This is kind of the process I would go through. If I was playing the quarter jukebox, I would just do it. I'm on Central Time, so I would do it at 5:50 Central, 5:45 Central, start running this. And then as things happen, the only thing I would do throughout the night is late swap. And depending on how my lineups are doing, I would make them stronger or even weaker if I needed to gain some leverage. If I had some pieces of Buffalo and Detroit that were doing well, you betcha I'm going to try and get in some Colorado with them. And on the other hand, if I have some Buffalo and Detroit failing and they're paired with Colorado, then I'm going to change that. I'm going to pair them with some Utah, with some Toronto, maybe even some Blackhawks, depending on how much leverage I need to try and get those min cashes. So that is kind of all in the process that I think we need for the quarter jukebox tonight. I'm going to do a little bit more tomorrow, though. We're going to start introducing some of the pay dirt analytics that you could get access to at TrueDFS. So remember, like and subscribe to see that video as it comes up, and more of the great content at TrueDFS. And check out TrueDFS.com, because you can get access to SaberSim, to the pay dirt analytics, to the premium Discord and the premium voice channels, and everything we're kind of going over to chop it up for DFS and betting throughout the day. And it's really not much more than just a SaberSim subscription is on its own. So it's a great deal. I highly recommend it. It's exactly what I use to play DFS day in and day out. And yeah, come and join us, and good luck on tonight's slate.